Hi all, this is Jenny from JR Knits here. Just wanted to do a quick little video to show you kind of the basics of reading patterns. So I'm using as an example the Show You Scarf pattern that I worked up here to go along with the Show You Basics series I'm doing. So first little section of the pattern is usually materials. So the suggested yarn and needle sizes, other materials, and then the gauge. I did a video about gauge last week, so I'm not going to go too much into that except to say please do it. It is really important to get in the habit of gauging everything. What you're going to do is knit up a section, and then you're going to measure your stitches in rows per inch, and then you're going to compare it to this and make adjustments to your needle size as needed to get closer to this number if you're off. So then the next section of the pattern is sort of like an index for the pattern. It shows the different stitches: garter stitch, stockinette stitch with border, and these two left and right leaning increases. And then it gives you some information on those stitches so that when you come to those in the pattern, you can look back up here and see what you need to do to accomplish that stitch. So then right here is where the pattern really gets going. Cast on 27 stitches. When this is where you actually start working. Before you cast on, I would recommend reading through the whole pattern. I always try and do that. I don't always get what's going to happen, but it's nice to know what's coming. If you've kind of glanced over it, you have an idea of where the pattern's headed. So it's just something I would suggest getting in the habit of doing. So you cast on your stitches, and then this asks you to work 26 rows in garter stitch, and then you can go back up here and say garter stitch. What was that? Oh, right, knit every row. So then you know. For counting garter stitch and stockinette stitch, I also, in the gauging video, I talked about that as well. If you're having problems with that, you can look back at that other video. I'll put links to those videos in the little boobly-doo. So then it goes on to the pinched section, and this is where you start seeing some abbreviations and things, and you might start thinking, oh my gosh, what does that mean? I have no idea. It looks like some kind of code. Basically, it is a code. So there are some standard abbreviations that aren't usually listed in the beginning of a pattern. Those would be like K is knit, P is purl, and in this pattern there's also SSK and K2 tog, which are decreases. This is K 2 stitches together and SSK slip slip knit. These usually there will be a resource, a glossary that like describes these standard stitches. I don't have a glossary on my page yet. I'm working on it. It's coming soon. For now, if you come across something like this that you don't understand, just copy that, throw it into Google or whatever you like to search with, and add knitting on the end of it, and you'll come up with some great resources for some standard abbreviation, standard knitting abbreviations. I'm going to put some links in this post too for some of the best resources for those abbreviations. So then you just work through all of this. Oh, one more point I wanted to make about this section is this. At the end of these rows where you're changing the number of stitches, I like to add in how many stitches are left on the needle. At the end of this row, you only have 25 stitches because you decreased twice. And then at the end of this one, you only have 23. You get all the way down to 19, and then you work back up. So that's what these numbers at the end mean. They're just telling you how many stitches you should have on the needle at the end of that row. So then you work some more, and then you come down. The only other section that might be a little bit tricky is right here, where I ask you to repeat the pattern from double star to double star 2 more times. So we need to scroll all the way back up, and you'll see up here that this is the first double star. So you're going to end up working all of this all the way down. My highlight is not working right now. All the way down to here. So you're going to work all of that 2 more times. So you're going to work through it once and then twice more, so a total of 3. And then you work this section here, additional rows and garter stitch, and then you bind off and weave in ends. And I'm going to be doing videos about increases, decreases, probably this week. I hope to have them up no later than Friday. I've been having some video problems, so my videos aren't getting up as quick as I like. And then the bind off and weave in videos will come the week after that. So keep checking back for those videos. And if you have any questions about pattern reading or this pattern specifically, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to answer questions. It helps make me a better designer and pattern writer, and it'll help make you a better knitter. So don't hesitate to ask, all right? See you next time.